Welcome to the Pop Culture Punks. I'm your host, Phil. Here we have Josh.
Boom, 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 boom.
And Zach.
Hi, guys.
Today's topic is...
It is a topic. Definitely.
What's the topic, Zach?
Tilt Brigade. I'm all about that.
Tilt
I
Brigade.
got some tilting opinions.
What are...
You guys gotta keep making us laugh. We got too much to say.
Just go for it.
It's alright. So,
Let's talk about them GameCube controllers.
GameCube controllers, pretty good. I think they're pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah. What do you think about them?
I don't like them.
Okay.
I think the OG model was better because I grew up playing with it with all the boys, and the new ones are just a
All the
cop off.
boys.
It just doesn't have enough to offer yet. I don't like the new ones.
Alright. New ones suck, apparently.
Alright, get out of here.
No! I run this channel!
That was Tilt Brigade episode because I'm all about the tilt.
I'm all about that. She was too spot on.
I was like, is she Chris right now?
It's like she lives with me or something.
It's like,
Like she knows you and stuff.
It's like she brought
she
out
knows
all of
you
her
and
angst
stuff,
against you.
I can't tell how this
You
is
struggling?
weird, but
You there you go. Attaboy.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Here, there, boy.
You know.
We doing impressions?
You know, son. Oh, dog.
Are we doing that?
Let me
Oh,
pull it up.
absolutely.
Oh,
Let me pull it
This
up.
is
You
like
ready?
your second
This
to
is-
last episode
yeah.
with us for a while.
That's
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
Although
Let me,
technically this will be the last one because I think we're doing tomorrow's before this one.
Yes.
Since tomorrow's is a news episode.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I figured we'd be more goofy on this one since it's our first time back.
Cool.
I'm looking for
I
the
mean, we were
list.
gonna be goofy
Looking for the
regardless.
list.
Yeah, I figured the second day would be a little bit toned down though. So
Whoa.
we ain't recording yet.
Turn it down out there.
Turn it down.
Shut your yapper.
This is just
Gosh
Oh
dang,
my
it's gonna be
goodness.
hot in
This
here.
is-
I'm
it's
already
gonna-
sweating.
I am real sweaty.
Woohoo!
I'm really hyper too, bless you.
I'll be hyper for like the first 30 minutes.
Yep.
Then by the
Ah,
end,
I found it. All
I'm
right.
just gonna be like, "That's cool.
Mine is
That's cool.
loud.
That's cool."
Yeah, you guys are all sorts of loud, but I think it's because we're so excited. Dude, literally, that was the most spot on caricature of our podcast ever.
That
Yeah,
was
really.
Yeah, that was
I
impressive.
just like, we're going to talk about a topic. Yeah, duh, because it's a topic.
I like the old school GameCube controller, and he's like, "Yep." So apparently, the new one sucks.
That was too good.
Oh.
He's got my sass. That one.
shout out to our fam who just filled in for us because they
They would do a better podcast than we could.
we literally didn't even feed them any lines. We were just like, be us. And
Be us,
That's
yeah.
verbatim what they did.
That's perfect.
Okay, Phil, we're about to put you on the spot. Zach, do you got a list queued up for pull up some names? All right,
See, the problem is I don't want to pull up the same list I pulled up last time.
that's okay.
Then pull up a different one.
Pull up a different one.
I can just think of some characters.
Okay,
I'll do that.
Are you
I'll
ready?
Just think. Wait.
okay.
I'm
Don't
just
throw
gonna-
a bunch of like anime ones at me because
So-
I don't want to go into that territory.
All right, so
We'll do. We got to do some that you will know.
Yeah.
Some that I
you'll
know, yeah.
Okay.
okay, here we go.
Gosh,
So-
dang, I'm fogging up.
To remember, last time we did this, we got some classic lines as in, hey, I'm Rocco, I'm from the 90s, and hey, I'm Johnny Bravo. So, for those of you who have not listened to that episode, we had Phil do on-the-spot impressions because we know Phil is the champion of impressions.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so because Zach sadly only has 2 episodes remaining with us for the year before he heads off to Japan.
Well, I mean, I might do more.
Yeah.
No, you're gone.
TBD.
No, you're out.
You're out of here.
That's the rule.
You're out of here.
You're out of here. Okay. You ready?
Yes.
So what we're going to do is we're going to put Spill. I'm
Happy
going to call you
birthday.
Spill.
What up, Spill?
What up, Spill?
You're a spill on society.
Phil's
I'm
a
Phil the Spill. That's my new Twitter name.
Oh boy, are
I'm
you
changing that? Not right
boy.
now.
Right.
Fill the spill.
Fill the spill.
All right, we ready?
Hit me with
Yep.
that good.
Okay. So on the count of 3, Phil.
I'm not ready for
Rapid
this.
fire impressions, and we'll give him a little more time to actually squirm with trying to do it.
Yeah,
So instead of
false.
going rapid fire.
Cool.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Go, Fred Flintstone.
Yabba dabba doo, dogs.
Yogi Bear.
Picnic basket.
Bugs Bunny.
Carrots.
Goofy.
Donnie from the Wild Thornberries.
Oi, mighty.
No. That's not. I don't think you know who Donnie is.
No, it doesn't.
Okay,
That's why I
okay.
paused.
Tasmanian Devil.
That was
That
Donnie.
was Donnie.
That was Donnie.
Bobby Hill.
Shut up, Bobby.
I was gonna try to get you to do the real thing.
Oh gosh.
Mr. Krabs.
Money. That's what I'm all about.
Jorgen from the Fairly Odd Parents.
Dude, the back thing.
Jorgen was the Schwarzenegger
He's a
guy.
Schwarzenegger dude.
The big fairy.
I couldn't remember that.
Goku from Dragon Ball Z.
Dexter from
Ow.
Dexter's Lab.
Medulla oblongata.
Randy Savage.
Frick, who's that again?
The cream of the crop.
That's that guy.
That's that guy.
Oh my god.
Bonesaw.
Bone sauce ready.
Go.
What? Oh, Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z.
Piccolo from Dragon Ball Z.
Just scream louder than the other.
Krillin from Dragon Ball Z.
I'm sweating so much.
Eric Cartman.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Butters.
My mom told me not to eat candy.
Sounds a lot like Herman.
Yugi from Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah.
Whom?
Yugi,
Yugi.
from Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
How do you not know these? I think you get so excited to do
wrapped
them.
up in my mind.
You get so excited to do them, you forget every single character from every single thing.
I literally do.
Oh gosh.
I thought you said Yuki from Dragon Ball Z.
Yugi from Dragon Ball Z. Oh, I think that
Heart of the cards.
Heart of the Cards.
Heart of the cards. Heart of the cards.
It's time to duel.
I'm really confused about what just happened now.
He opened the door. I don't know what he's doing. That was
That was something. I think that was.
incredible.
I think I did a little bit better than last time.
Better than no, it was actually worse.
My Goku, Piccolo, and Vegeta were on point. Though.
They were. Those are fantastic.
Yeah.
I loved how
Have fun editing that one.
Oh, it'll be great. The best part is you literally, it was like Donnie from the Wild Thornberries. Hey guys, you were
just
just
like,
like Tasmanian Devil.
That's Donnie.
I was
That's
like,
how
that's
Donnie
literally
sounds.
Donnie from the Wild Thornberries. He was like the little kid who would like. It was like the family who was out, and it was like Nigel Thornberry, and then it was the youngest son Donnie who wore like the leopard shorts. He'd always be like.
Oh
and, like,
yeah,
that
he
kid.
was just like a little wild kid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But you
Okay.
forgot because you were.
But you
I did
forgot.
forget.
It's
I
all
just,
in a
I
little
just
too excited.
defaulted to like what I thought was an
Whatever the
Australian
heck
accent.
he was. Yeah,
That was an Australian accent.
It wasn't.
It was
I-
not.
But that's what I was trying
That's
to do.
amazing. That is absolutely amazing. Wowzers!
I really wanted to hear your actual Piccolo. Outside of screaming.
I was trying to remember what his move was.
Special beam color.
Yeah, I was trying to remember that, and then I just did. At that moment, I thought it would be more comedically.
Yeah,
it would be
it was
funnier
good.
if I just did the same thing. 'cause
Yeah.
at that point,
It did.
was
It
like-
did. It built up well.
Yeah.
Krillin.
We're really in for it now, Gohan. My favorite.
Oh, that would have been
Anytime
a
I-
great one. Frieza.
Virginia. Virginia.
Oh my gosh.
You're going to hell, Goku. Get ready, Nameku. Makuna Matata. I love
Oh my gosh.
my favorite thing from Dragon Ball Z is whenever Piccolo was yelling at Gohan in the first season, he's just like, "What are you doing, Gohan?"
Little kid Gohan is so stupid.
It's the crappiest character.
Daddy. Ow.
Dude, Oni play. Yeah,
I
that's a great
freaking
video.
love that video.
Oh
well,
my
mon
gosh.
frere, real
Well,
Phil.
mon frere.
Well, mon frere, you want to introduce us?
Does mon frere mean my father?
Does it?
That's Mein Kampf.
Correction.
I mean, we don't support that.
Now that we got that out of the way.
Never gonna be listed as one of those alt-right people.
Oh, God.
Did you hear it? I said it. Oh boy.
What up, folks? Welcome back to another fancy, fantastic, fabulous, fartacular episode of the Pop Culture Punks podcast.
Where did fartacular come from?
Out of my silly little
Noggin.
Behind.
I'm my bum.
I'm bum.
where we bring pop culture to the pit.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. So, and now it's more of a pit because we
Are
have
sweaty.
Because we dig ourselves in.
One, because we're sweaty, and two, because we have three people again.
Yeah.
You can't really have a pit with two people.
No.
It's just like two people kind of like hugging.
It's kind of like a
That
fight.
is-
It's kind of like a fight. Yeah.
I know we have some kids listening to our podcast, so I didn't want to say
Hello, childrens.
Hello, youngers.
Hello, youngsters.
Fun fact. Do you ever do that with like Luke Timmich and I used to do that all the time where it was like what was the name I gave him? I think it was say what, Steven, let me tell you something, Steven. There is this big old swamp monster out back in the pool. We gotta take him, throw him in the back. Take him outside. Take him. Get out of your swamp monster. Put it before you like it.
Hey, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
I don't know.
You gonna throw me in the swamp?
What are you gonna do? You gotta get your sword. It's Danny DeVito.
Thanks for the
From Hercules.
clarification.
People might
ya.
not know. They're just gonna be like, "Oh, what a funny voice he's doing." It's like, no, I want them to know.
Like someone's grandma's listening. That was a cute voice.
That was cute. It's something about a sword.
Who's that?
Oh, is that Mario boy from your game?
That nice Mario with his brother Mario too.
The green one.
The green one. The green Mario.
Lucas.
Master Trolley.
Oh my
this
gosh.
is why we did this one first.
So yeah, as you may have noticed by now, we have that boy young Zach back with us. So
What up, my fellow podcasters? It is good to be back.
Oh Lord.
No, I've only doing that
Oh,
just that
gosh.
time.
this is great.
That's one of my favorite episodes that we did. The
was-
Robots Love Anime. Anyway.
All right, quick segue because we're already off the rails. We had on our family vacation, we had this like I had this laughing fit because we were sitting in
Oh,
the
because
lake.
we were in the water and we just were doing like putting
The-
our
the
lips above the
Christopher
water and just like it made a really good and then I just started making a Christopher Nolan trailer out of it. It's like what in a world. It's like just like how do we even stop them? Only you can. I got no choice, don't I?
Just like, wait a second, where's Johnny?
Over there.
Just, it was like everything we did was just like it's time to eat dinner.
Oh my gosh.
In theaters November 2018.
Oh, Christopher Nolan, what won't you do?
What will he
Anyway, sorry.
We all got so much crap in our throats
Oh,
today.
it's laughing too hard.
Laughing
We're
too
all old
hard.
geezers now.
Doing too many good impressions and
Those are
sweating up a
spot on.
storm.
Spot on
Moshing
impressions.
too
My
hard.
impressions make me sweaty.
All them impressions make me sweaty. Sweaty Willy.
Can't say that.
I had an idea for
I was
our
gonna
intro.
try to say Philly, but you can't say Philly while
can't say
whistling.
sweaty
Can't
Philly.
say Philly.
Can't say Philly while sweaty.
You can't say Philly while sweaty.
Sweaty Philly, spilly.
Spill the fail.
Spill the
Sweaty
Phil.
spills.
Spilly Philly.
Sweaty.
Okay.
Oh,
What's
boy.
your
You're
thing?
into real. What?
Did you say you had a?
Oh, I like had a fun idea
You had
for
a
intro
piece?
because we were gonna do our thing, but then there was like some joke on Psych from this guy doing this radio intro, and then I was in the bathroom and I started laughing because I thought of, hey, all you cool cats, cool teens, and guys with big wings.
We've got lots of those listening.
Humongous.
Humongous walk.
What? You what?
Hey, humongous walk. You what? What? Oh, you're talking about your Willy.
Philly and his Willy, silly, spilly Willy.
Oh god.
What? Okay, keep us going.
Keep us going.
Leader, fearless leader.
Goalie.
So yeah, we got, as you can
Co-leader.
tell by our absolute insanity, that boy Young Zach's back.
Of course.
So
This podcast is...
We'll be back to the same old morose, morbid.
we're
Yeah, I
much
listened
more
to
Deadpan
much more morose without you.
I listened to your creative episode. I really liked it, but it was funny because it's just like, hey, welcome to the Pop Culture Punks podcast. Like, I'm here with my boy Phil. What's up?
Too tiny.
It's like very different.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about you, but you just like make me more goofy for some reason.
That's-
Like
I
your
do.
presence, yeah.
Yeah, my presence just
When
brings
you're not
the
around,
presence.
I
the
feel like
silly.
we just feel that like
You feel
in-
the critical mind.
Yeah.
Whereas when I come in,
Sure.
I'm just like,
You make us like.
what's the
goofy.
deal? What's something?
Scoot yours a
What's
little
the
closer.
deal? What's the deal with
My mic.
pancakes?
There you go.
Okay.
Or press your thing in. There you go.
Press my thing.
So yeah, this is we're glad you're back.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be back.
Definitely.
So
I love
Glad to
being
be
on the
back,
show.
John.
yeah, so it's been a while. And
Has it?
No,
Sorry.
he's the one who's supposed to
No.
do that.
Sorry, I already jumped on
It's
it.
been a while.
It
It's
has,
funny
I
because
guess.
between you and I, it hasn't been a while
No,
at
it
all.
hasn't.
But with you, it's been a while,
Mm-hmm.
and I haven't talked to you in a while.
Yeah.
So you guys have probably talked. I don't know.
A wee bit.
I don't know what your communication preferences are, but we haven't talked in a while. So I'm curious.
You hear that? That's the sound of people not respecting the pod.
So yeah, what have you been up to, Zach?
I've been up to visiting and meeting up with so many friends before I head off for ye olde Japan.
Ye
olde
olde
Japan.
baby.
Are there castles and princesses there?
Yes.
Ye
in fact.
olde.
Probably, yeah.
Ye olde
I know there's
Japan?
castles, but
There's castles, no princesses.
maybe
though.
princess. Dude, if there's princesses,
Not in this.
I'll go on an
modern
anime
age.
RPG inspired
Princess
adventure to see.
Man, princesses are. It's part of the patriarchy, bro. Can't be about that.
Hey! You can respect the princesses, okay?
Respect the princess.
They're just called leaders.
They're
dog.
called leaders.
They're just leaders.
They're
dog.
called prince people.
Jeez.
They're called the princes of yore. Yeah. Just because I have so many friends in town, and I'm not saying this to be like, I have so many friends I have to go see.
have
I'm
so
really
many
sad to see
friends.
them go. Legitimately, I'm like, even this podcast too, I'm sad to not be able to be part of it as often. But thankfully, I've had the time last week and this week. Last week, I caught up with basically everyone that's in Milwaukee. And this week, I'm catching up with everyone in Madison, and then I'll be shipping off next week, Monday. So,
Gone so soon.
yeah. It's been a blast. Been a blast.
You've been doing anything this summer, pop culture wise?
Oh, yeah.
Any fun games
Fun games?
or books or manga?
Brooks. Brooks Branca.
Bronga, and Brains.
Okay. Actually, a lot of stuff since it's been a while. I got hardcore back into One Piece because I
Manga?
won
Manga?
Mhm, the manga.
Okay.
Oh yeah, my anime. I don't recommend to anyone, and that's coming from an avid One Piece fan. Just because I have not to humble brag or anything like that, but I have books 1 through 70 on my shelf.
Out of how many?
Out of 85, 86 that have been translated, but they're on like book 90 now in Japan, so
Dang.
I gotta catch up. Which
You're
I might
almost
actually
there,
buy
though.
some more. Yeah,
That's crazy.
I never thought I'd actually get that many books because like I've been in limbo for so long, being like I want to read more, but I don't want to read online because I've been buying One Piece since like the 5th grade, and then Josh's lovely birthday present to me was helping me pay for this giant box set with like 25 books,
That's legit.
all in the next order that I needed. So I was like,
Nice.
I just gotta. I'm cranking through a bunch of them before I leave, so then I can kind of finish off what I have while I'm over in Japan. So
Nice.
cemented itself as my favorite manga, definitely. As much like I've always loved it, but it's like it's got the nostalgia on top of just like it does such a great job. Ooh, such a great job. Ooh, of like having such humble beginnings, but then turning into such a deep like plot tied to not only the lore of the world and stuff like that, but just like the idea of piracy and the idea of like the Navy and stuff like that, and who's on the right. Like this arc I just read, it was the one where this is old news, so it's not like his brother, Luffy's brother Ace, like gets killed. Like one of the main villains just like literally punches a hole through him and just dies. He literally like dies pretty much instantly, and you're just like, and it's such this like epic buildup of everyone going to save Ace, and it's like this emotional thing, and then as soon as he gets saved, they're just like, yeah, let's go, and then just like
Dead.
That, which I appreciate so much, because a lot of shows like that take the safe route or take the very long, drawn out like death sequence where it felt so just like instantaneous, and it was so hard. Like literally, Luffy like collapses mentally from seeing that happen to him, because he literally like he gets killed because he like blocks the hit for Luffy, and then he just like kind of loses his mind basically, and just is like storm and rage. And
Ace was probably my favorite character in that whole show.
if you had gotten
such a boss.
I almost want you to read that part just to see how like he was already cool from what we had read, but like that whole arc just cements you two are very much similar in that way. It's funny because I see Luffy and Ace as me and you, and especially looking at their childhood and stuff like that, and of just like he kind of was the punk to society and was didn't take crap, but then Luffy's the like, I want to be your friend, and was nice to everyone and was just overly optimistic about everything. I'm not saying that's me like to a T, but it's like
No,
it's interesting that they do have that.
I'll have to read that.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So freaking good. I absolutely love it. And I get to just buy all the One Piece stuff I want when I'm in Japan.
That's gonna be awesome.
They literally, my favorite store I went to there, I think I went there twice, is like, it's literally called the Mugiwara store, like the Straw Hat store, and it's like this, it's on the 5th floor of this shopping complex, and it's like an all anime store floor, and there's this giant section just dedicated to One Piece stuff, like posters, figures, books, art books,
Dang, dude.
the works.
That's gonna be cool.
So I'll be going there right away when I get back. What else? I have been playing. I got Shenmue HD Collection.
Oh, is that 1 and 2?
Mm-hmm. Which has been very fun because the voice acting in that is just abysmal, but so fun to listen to.
Really?
You'll get lines where like you're in Japan, and I think the main character Ryo has a pretty good voice, but literally goes up to like a lady and she's like, hello Ryo. I heard about Sumiya-san. I'm very sorry. Like that's. Or there's this dude named Tom who like, you can't tell if he's trying to do an Indian or a Jamaican accent. So he's just this like, got this curly hair. And he's like, Tom. He's like, hey, what's happening, man? I heard about your father. I'm sorry.
It sounds like what's his face, Tommy Warsaw. Like
Tommy, no, it literally does. It literally sounds like, because he's like, no, I did not do any. I did not hit her.
I did not.
That's great.
I didn't even think about that.
As soon as he did that, I was like,
That's
Tommy
Tommy Wiseau.
Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah. Which has been fun playing that too. I want to play a little more of that. I got this super nice like third-party controller where it's fashioned like a Super Nintendo controller.
Did it come in the mail already?
No, I'm getting it Wednesday, but I wish I could show it
What
off.
system is it for?
It's for like everything. It's
Do you
like
remember seeing
Bluetooth.
that, the 8-bit dough?
Yeah, I've seen
Controller?
those. Yeah.
I jumped the gun on it.
That's what you
'cause,
got?
Yeah, I want to play. I wanted to get the Street Fighter Anniversary Collection because Street Fighter Third Strike is apparently the best one, and I want to play that and just master it, and like spend my whole plane ride just going nuts in that, which would be really
Nice.
fun. But I wanted a controller with a better D-pad, and that one was like a nice controller that works with everything. So
That'd be cool.
I jumped the gun on that. Movie or anime wise, because obviously have to give an update on that. Started rewatching Hunter x Hunter. Still as fantastic as I remember, if not better. Because there's all these little things that even like the first 2 episodes, I'm like, dang, that they're already harking at stuff that's gonna happen in the future. Like there's this one whole sequence of events where like they're doing this one test about like this lady is quizzing people of like, oh, like if your son and your daughter were both kidnapped in different places, you had to choose one to save, who would you choose? And then, you know, the answer is to be silent, but then the main character goes like, what if I get in a situation like that? What if I have to like choose someone's life over another? And like, I don't know who exactly is involved, but I know there is a part later on that's like very akin to that, which is really interesting because that's only like the 2nd episode and that's way down the line. So really cool that it's a full circle narrative like that.
Nice.
I watched a fantastic, probably my favorite movie this summer, if not the year. It's called The Night is Short, Walk On Girl, and I forget the director's name, but he's done a bunch of other anime shows and stuff that I really like. He's got a very, very artsy, unique style. It's like, you'd watch it, it's like, you'd almost consider it more just animation than anime, because it's like, it takes place in Japan, it's, you know, it's in subtitles, but it was like, so whimsical and such a well-rounded story, and just the visual, like, one of my favorite scenes of that whole movie is, it's all about this one girl who, like, I think she turned 20, and so she's able to drink, so she's basically like, I'm gonna just, like, have a super fun night and stuff like that, which seems very, it's like it's labeled as a rom-com, but it's much more narrative. I don't want to, because that doesn't do it justice. It's a very narrative story of, like, there's this other dude who's, like, kind of trying to win her affection, but at the same time, like, both of them are going on these different journeys of, like, she's kind of just, like, trapezing through the night wistfully and, like, exploring all these things in nightlife in Japan, meeting all these people, while he's kind of meeting the same people, but he's, like, stressed out because he's like, how do I win her affections? I need to do all these things and do all this stuff, and, like, both of them just get involved in these crazy antics with the college and stuff like that they're involved in, and super, super good animation, super good story. So yes, and that was only playing, I think, for 2 nights at the Marcus Theater. So
you saw it at the theater?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's
which
cool.
is really cool.
Nice.
And I think it was only those 2 nights, because I thought it was like I thought it was a early screening, but I looked up online, it was only those 2 nights. So
Dang.
getting to see that was really cool.
That is cool.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I've been noticing that Marcus is playing a lot of different, like, old movies lately for some reason.
I mean, all 4 of them. They're doing that Ghibli Fest.
Yeah.
They're really, really akin to doing the Ghibli movies, which
is cool.
I
actually bought tickets for Spirited Away.
Yeah?
So
finally
I'm
going to watch it
excited
again.
Yeah, I've seen it twice, I think.
Because
but
you were
I would
scared
love
of
to
it
see
when you were...
When I was a kid, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
not scared of it anymore, but
I'm not scared of it anymore.
I'm not scared. I'm not
scared of a big old dragon. Is.
But I think, yeah, it'll be cool in the theaters, so.
Yeah.
Sweet. Dope.
I can't think of anything else, but those are the big things. I know I'm going to be burning my pockets immediately when I get to Japan with all the stuff I'm going to be buying. Hopefully
I'll probably send you with some fun so you can pick something up from the Poke Stop.
I can
the
do that.
Poke Center.
Yeah.
Maybe an Ace figure. We'll see.
Dude,
That's
yeah,
gonna be cool.
the Poke Center is another store that's like, I show that to people and they're like, it's heaven. It's
I really
literally
want to
heaven.
get like a stuffed animal or something from there sometime. But
Yeah. You go on the Pokemon Center shop online.
Yeah.
They have really good plushies and
let's
stuff.
check it out. Because I want to get a Cubone. I like Cubone.
Cubone.
I want that Cubone.
I want that Cubone bone.
Do a
Cubone.
Cubone impression.
I just did.
Oh.
That was a good
Beat me
Cubone.
to it.
I remember I did a Squirtle impression for my Japanese. We were talking about, like, the differences between, like, Pokemon in Japan and in America, and my TA from this past semester was asking, like, he's like, well, what are they? Because the Japanese name for Squirtle is Zenigame, which is, like, not Squirtle at all. And so he was like, what? He's like, what does it even sound like? I was like, oh, how does? And I was like, I did like Squirtle, and he was like, what? Just like he was like crying, laughing.
That's
like
hilarious.
that's how we saw. I was like, yep, that is.
That's hilarious.
That's funny. Cool.
I'm always curious how they create the names in English for Pokemon. Like,
It's very actually. I did a project on that. That was one of my
Really?
final projects for Japanese class. Yeah, it's like the way they do it. The reason why one of the reasons Pokemon became so popular over here is attributed to when they translated names. A lot of the names in Japanese are puns. So like Zenigame is like something like water turtle or something like that, or it's like some variation of that. So when they did Squirtle, squirting turtle, like they anglified.
because I
the
noticed
Japanese
most of the
puns
names
and
tend to
stuff
be
like
like
that.
puns on like what they are, what type
Yeah.
they are, and stuff.
Or it's just an animal name backwards, like
Yeah.
Ekans.
Yeah.
That's still the most
Ekans,
lazy name.
Arbok.
Arbok.
Yeah. Or
You
Charizard,
never know, though.
Charlizard,
Charizard.
Charmander,
True.
Salamander,
Charmander, Salamander.
Salamander.
Nice.
Nice.
You want to go next?
Sure, I can hit it up.
One of mine is kind of like a mini review, so
Okay.
That I'm semi-involved in.
yes.
Cool.
Yes.
I've been reading this comic called Sweet Tooth by Jeff Lemire, who I told you about last week. He's one of my favorite comic artists and writers. He's very good. It's kind of like a post-apocalyptic thing where like there was like some sort of event where a lot of people died, the usual apocalyptic whatever. But then like coinciding with that, kids also started being born like part animal. So like the main
it's
kid,
furry comic.
not it, no, but like the main character who's also sort of like almost like a messiah figure, or at least that's like people keep like building him up to be that. He's got like antlers, and then like there's another kid who's like a beaver kid or something. It's very interesting. It's kind of creepy, but it's just very well written, and the art is really cool. So
I saw you interacting with Imperius, and you guys were throwing around Gideon Falls, because I'd seen that a long time ago. And and immediately it got me really interested. But it looks like the first volume of like issues 1 through 6 doesn't come out for a little bit.
I haven't read it either. I was thinking about picking it up because I have
got so many other ones to read already.
Yeah, currently I have Doomsday Clock on my pull list at the comic store, and then I added Black Hammer and another Black Hammer title called The Quantum Age. So I have those 3 titles coming every month, basically. Well, yeah, kind of. And I was thinking about adding Gideon Falls to that too, because it sounds really good. It's like it's the same writer, Jeff Lemire, but it's like horror-ish type. And
it seemed really dope.
It's kind of, I forget what people were comparing it to, but
What's the premise?
I can't even remember.
You keep running, I'll find it.
Yeah, you find it. But
did you get to read Invincible? I saw you guys talking about that too. Is it good?
Dude, I'm loving it.
Okay.
I think you would
I
like
might have
it.
to pick that up.
You probably listened to the episode where I explained what it was, right?
Actually no.
Okay.
I only listened to the creative
so
one.
the basic gist of it is it's a superhero comic, but it's kind of like messing with like tropes and kind of like
that's what it seems
subverting
like,
them while also like praising them and kind of like playing with that, but also like another part like almost like slice of life drama sort of, or like family drama, and there's like he's in high school and then he's in college and he has a relationship and he has friends and he has to it's basically like what would it be like if the superhero actually like tried to like balance his life, whereas like they don't often like deal with that part of a superhero's life. It's kind of just like, I'm a hero, so I save the world and I shirk off all of my other life things. But this one, it's like the tension between that, and it's super gory at times. Like there's one part where like this guy just like jams his fist right through his like stomach, like all the way through, and just like rips his innards outside of him. Nice. So it's like super brutal, but it's really good.
I'll check that out then.
Here's a quick summary I found. This is on imagecomics.com. So it's not super in-depth, but just kind of a general...
This is Gideon Falls.
Gideon Falls. So the lives of a reclusive young man obsessed with a conspiracy in the city's trash and a washed-up Catholic priest arriving in a small town full of dark secrets become intertwined around the mysterious legend of the Black Barn, an otherworldly building that is alleged to have appeared in both the city and the small town throughout history, bringing death and madness in its wake. So it's a rural mystery and urban horror collision in this character-driven meditation on obsession, mental illness, and faith. And I was like,
that sounds like my cup of tea.
The thing that I love about Jeff Lemire, which I think I talked about a little bit last week, is like he grew up in a small rural town in Canada. So like a lot of his works, even like superhero works and stuff, tends to like focus a lot on like interpersonal relationships and like kind of like the closeness that you feel in like a small town.
Well, it's interesting how like when a creator grows up in an area and then they base a work off that area, it turns out really well. Like that's in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, there's 2 arcs of the story, mainly part 4, Diamond is Unbreakable. The main guy, the guy who wrote Hirohiko Araki, grew up in the city called Sendai, and like he based the city off that. He based the city in that arc off of the city, and it ends up working super well. Yeah. It's like, it almost is kind of similar. Like it's very more slice of life, more character interaction, but it's like the brilliance of he writes the story about basically the whole thing is revolved around like them trying to solve a murder and stuff like that. And there's this murderer that's serial killer that's loose in their town somewhere, so they got to figure out who it is. But it's interesting seeing how they're able to translate that.
A lot of his comics tend to be like that, which I've been basically like checking out everything that I can find of his at the library and like reading through it. So
nice.
I'm loving his art is interesting, and his storytelling is pretty top notch in my opinion. The Pokemon Platinum League is
I was cracking up.
Kicking my butt. Holy cow.
Pokemon Platinum what?
Pokemon League in Platinum. Pokemon Platinum.
I don't think I ever got that. League. I was no, because I haven't beaten the 8th gym leader yet.
Oh really?
Yeah, I kind of took a break from Pokemon.
It's so hard. Like the first guy is Bug, which isn't terrible, but like some of the typing combinations are hard to hit, and my Pokemon are like 5 levels lower than all of theirs at that time, and I don't feel like grinding. And then the second guy is like Rock. I think it's Rock, yeah. Or Ground. and he's got like his Pokemon are just tanks. Like
So I get a water Pokemon, dude.
it doesn't do anything. I have a Gastrodon, and like Surf does jack squat on any of them.
Oof.
He's got like a Hippodon, like that big hippo
Mhm.
ground guy, and it just a sliver.
Really, I'm
oh.
surprised by
And
that.
all of them freaking know Earthquake.
Well, it
so he
depends-
just spams Earthquake.
Well,
He kills
Yeah,
everything.
Gastrodon's special attack might not be that high. That might be why.
Probably, yeah.
That could be a thing, but
Because he's also ground type.
yeah.
So I think I looked up a guide on like which Pokemon fare the best throughout Platinum and kind of like tried to get those, and these are the ones that they recommended, but it's just not working out. I think
Yeah.
my Pokemon are just too low level.
Mhm.
That I found that even with Ultra Moon, like just having finished through it, like it's kind of wild how much of a difference just a few levels. Like all of a sudden, like you go up 3 levels, and then what was like maybe 10 damage to like a 300 health Pokemon is all of a sudden turns into like 50 or 70. And you're
Yeah.
like, oh, all of a sudden it's like kind of.
It
So
just
weird
sucks
about- yeah.
because no matter how, like, I get one hit in, puts him down like 33%, and then you just Earthquake. Like
Yeah, and
every
then
one
you're
of his
dead.
Pokemon uses
Yep.
Earthquake. Even Gliscor, who's like flying and ground, Earthquake. I'm like,
So I got to get a floating Pokemon or someone that knows levitate.
I mean, I have Bronzong, but then like every one of his Pokemon knows like Fire Punch or something for some reason. And then I use I have the Blimp one, or the balloon ghost,
yeah.
the ghost
Drifblim.
flying Driftblim, and I use him and nothing. Like
Just get stomped.
yeah. I
Shoot.
did beat the ground guy eventually though. I had to like I used so many revives, and I kept like switching back and forth, and I had like this plan devised where I was like I knew
Dude,
what
that's
to
what
do
you
after
do.
like 4
Yeah.
times, and then the next person after that is like Psychic, I think, or something, and at that
One of
point
the
I was
absolute-
done. Yeah,
if they
it
have
was-
quick psychic Pokemon are some of the hardest ones to deal with in any Pokemon
yeah,
game.
it was tough.
Yeah.
So
That's all I'm getting with Emerald. I've been trying to, because I'm at like I'm at Victory Road, and I have like some Pokemon that are pretty good level, but like I want to get them beefed up.
Mhm.
But grinding is so much harder in that game.
that one's tough too because
'Cause you get
the
no
fourth guy
EXP, yeah.
is the Dragon type,
Yeah,
isn't he?
Captain Drake, awful.
Drake,
awful.
and then Steven after him's got like Metagross and
Yeah. He's
Yep.
just a tank.
yeah. I remember that league just being so
yeah, it
hard.
was hard. Yeah.
So
I still
I-
think the hardest league is in Gold, fighting Lance at the very end of every one was. I think the most angry I've gotten at a Pokemon game was fighting Lance in Heart Gold, and I was like, literally, the way I realized how hard of a fight it was is I was driving from my grandma's house from far away and tucked away part of Wisconsin, and then we were driving back home. It's like a 2-hour long ride, and I was still like an hour after getting home trying to beat him. So that was 3 hours worth
he's got
of
3
retrying.
Dragonites, doesn't he?
Yep.
By that point,
And I think I remember seeing he like actually cheats because he teaches him moves at like,
yeah, his Dragonite literally
In
knows
canon-
like Thunder, Flamethrower, Fire Blast,
yeah.
Ice Beam, and
It's like it knows moves that it
Hyper
shouldn't
Beam.
know.
yeah. And
or
you're like,
something
what the
like
heck
that.
is this crap?
Yeah.
So no matter what you throw at it, it's got something.
dirty.
But yeah, the
Absolutely
Poke,
dirty.
I like gave up for a while. I'll probably dive back in a little while, but that league is just insane. I think I need to grind for a while.
Yeah.
I saw the Two Towers extended edition last week.
Nice.
So another 4-hour
In
film in the
theaters.
theaters. Yeah, so that was pretty epic. It was awesome. Another half gallon of Mountain Dew too.
Attaboy.
So yeah,
How many times did you go?
2 times if you don't count the time after the movie was done.
Okay. So,
But
3
during the
times.
theaters, 2 times,
Jeez.
3 total. So
Yeah, I agreed with you when you had said about like
don't
drinking anything before you get in. Because one of the worst memories I have is we went to go see The Dark Knight Rises with a bunch of friends, midnight release, which is super super fun. But halfway through the movie, at the when he breaks Batman's back and everything, I like had to pee. Like I was grabbing my legs, but like that movie at the time was so good, and I was so entranced by it, and I was so hyped up for like being with my friends at midnight watching this movie. I don't want to leave. I'm not getting out of there. I'm just gonna.
see, I feel like certain movies I will do that for, but like the Lord of the Rings, I'm pretty lenient with it because I'm like I know everything that's gonna happen because I've seen these movies like 2 times at this point. So like I'm not like I'm just there. I'm like, this is 4 hours long. Like I deserve a couple pee breaks. So, but yeah, that's been fun. It's been good. The third one's tomorrow, and that one's 4.5 hours. So should be. I'll get
Grab
home at
your
like
blanket.
11:45.
Nice.
Grab your pillow, grab your blankie,
Yep.
blanky
Get
baby.
the
popcorn.
Oh, so yeah, that was fun. And then oh gosh, I
The
So-
self disgust is just
So-
hysterical.
What happened?
Breath of the Wild was on sale I sold my Breath of the Wild a while ago just because I needed the money and I wasn't playing it.
Mm.
So I rebought it because it was on sale at Best Buy for $37.
Right.
So naturally I bought it because I was like, it's not going to be this cheap for a while. So I just picked it up.
Mhm.
And then after that, trying to think of the order. I already had The Witcher 3 that I still haven't played. I got that for like $15 on sale at some point.
Mm.
And then I saw that the Shadow of War game was on sale, and it was like the gold edition, which is like normally $80. It was like, I think I got it for like $14. So I was like, I mean, I've been into Lord of the Rings lately, so I'd try it out for $14. And it's got all of the season pass, and they revamped. I was reading online, and people were saying they actually got rid of like the loot system and like all the loot boxes that they originally had in the game, and like streamlined the
They were doing
loot
loot
system.
boxes in that game.
Yeah,
which is why it kind of tanked.
No wonder it
originally.
tanked. Yeah.
So,
But
which
people
is-
are people. I looked it up before I bought it because I was like, "Is like
it
what's this
change?
game like?" And people are saying it's actually a lot more fun now because a lot of the combat isn't dependent on getting these dumb loot boxes. So
Why would you? Why would you even for Lord of the Rings game?
I know it's
That's such a-
like soiling the.
well, that's why it
Tolkien
tanked,
legacy.
and I think hopefully they're
Yeah.
learning that
Yeah.
just don't do it to begin with.
Well, I
So-
heard about that EA employee getting paid out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, I
we
was
definitely railed
Yeah,
on that
we-
for a while. So and then to add on top of those 3 massive open world games, I got Horizon Zero Dawn for like $14 on sale.
Oh, you
too.
got it though.
I know, and it's the complete edition, $14.
You got
for
the
the
whole
complete.
thing?
Yeah,
What?
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
it dropped.
I spent 14 for just the base.
yeah.
No, it's
Dang,
like
that's some
it's like
bull.
$20 now.
It
I
is.
think is like
I think the
oh,
base
retail
cost is 20. Yeah. So
No, I think
Good.
retail price for like the whole.
that's what I mean.
Because I saw
yeah.
that on. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why.
So-
That's why I waited because I knew it would drop down
Yeah.
eventually.
So I got it for 14 off Amazon, and I had some like Amazon credits. So then basically got it for free because I didn't. The
Dope.
credits were just in there. So
Nice.
I might.
so I
to
have
pick that
those
up.
4 freaking games to play now.
I was I made a note under that one, really for any of those. I guess maybe not Shadow of War. I would pick up The Witcher 3 again, just because all the cyberpunk stuff has gotten me.
I know
Hyped
CD
to, like, play
Projekt.
some
Like,
CD
oh.
Projekt.
Yeah, we
but-
just watched the gameplay video, like the 40-minute gameplay
Yeah, I think
video.
we're
of
gonna
Cyberpunk.
talk more about it tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
we'll do a
News
more
thing.
in depth in the next one. Yeah.
Spoiler alert: we loved it.
Yeah,
it's-
I was
it's looking
freaking
good.
out.
I've seen like 4 minutes of it, and I like texted you, and I was like, "This is gonna be the best game in the
Oh my
existence of
gosh.
human."
Yeah,
human
it's,
race.
that's how it's looking. So
Like this is the game I've dreamed of for my
yeah,
whole life.
right.
Yeah, that's the tech demo. That's
I know.
so weird.
Yeah,
But it looks
It's-
amazing.
It looks
So-
like it's done.
yeah, like I'd play
So,
it. But I was
we
gonna
can
say
discuss that more.
it'd be
yeah.
fun to I say this specifically because I don't know why, for whatever reason, but our Deadpool review, our Deadpool 2 one episode has hit like 90 view or downloads at this point. So it's the highest one that we've ever done, which is so weird. I don't understand that. I guess we're
Deadpool
just
2, baby.
Deadpool.
Yeah, people
Um,
look up Google Deadpool 2, you think, and then just
Well,
come
that's
across
yeah,
that.
exactly. So what I'm wondering is it'd be fun because I haven't played Horizon yet, and I've heard it's great, and so it'd be fun, especially because like I know our style is like we're not in the like I'm dropping $80 a week to get all these games and review them that day. So like a year or two later, like how does it play? How do we feel about it?
We
Stuff
could have like
that.
a running update section, basically.
We won't
part
talk
of
about
our-
Zero Dawn probably till next year. And
But
by
we can
then-
have like a running thing where like we update our progress and what we're
Yeah.
thinking about it as we play. Maybe
Yeah,
it'd be kind of cool.
sweet.
And then it would actually force me to play a game once in a
Exactly.
while because I've been just like my stack of comics is always like this high.
There's
Yeah.
been some stuff I've seen just on and off of like concept art, like just at work. Like I have to look up references all the time, and one of the sites we use is an Adobe based site, and so there's a lot of like high profile people that post,
Mm-hmm.
hey, this is how we did the concept art for this project, and one of them was Horizon. And seeing some of the enemies and the other tribes you fight, I was like, this is in there, like
Yeah.
whoa. So
That's a concept.
I'm
for what's in
really
there.
well. It's like I've seen other images of
No,
like,
I'm
what
saying
the
that.
final
I'm saying that
stuff-
in a good way. Of
yeah,
like,
it was like holy cow, this is gonna be cool. So
Yeah.
I really want to go, but I'm waiting until next Friday because that's when my pro gets here. Boy.
Oh, see now you're gonna have Spider-Man too, though.
Yup. It's all
So
good.
like you're not gonna play Horizon. You're gonna be
good.
playing Spidey.
I have to be playing
that's right.
Spidey.
Spidey comes out. I wonder if I should just get a Japanese copy. I wonder.
You could.
I'd be interested to go there and see
I
if
think
like.
the PS4 is region locked though, so you'd have to.
No, it's not region locked. I checked online before.
Oh
that.
yeah, that's for Blu-rays. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
Blu-rays.
games it's not region locked.
That's dope though.
That is cool.
You
Yeah.
should.
That'd be
That's why
fun.
I'm bringing that in the Switch because those are like the only two consoles I have that aren't region locked.
Do they do like how in the States you can do like the different audio or subtitles or whatever. Like, would they do that in
That's what I'm
the
not sure.
Japanese version?
I feel like they would. I don't know. It'd be interesting because like I know for like I've bought Japanese games and they don't have like an English option for the most part.
Which is super
Some
weird.
I think some games do it depending on
some do.
what the developers want to do and
Exactly
what their
who they're
market
reaching
is.
out to. So like, good example. I want to get the one My Hero Academia game that's
Right.
coming on the Switch, which looks really, really good. And I'm probably gonna just buy it in Japan just for posterity's sake, but also like I'd buy it in America too. But it's gonna be kind of, I know the story and stuff, and like it'd be kind of fun to read in Japanese because that's
It's kind of a cool way
So
to
you're
immerse
learning.
it might
yourself
yeah
into
it
the
might
culture a
it
little
would
bit,
help
too.
it would kind of actually help me in with my Japanese
Mhm.
reading it on top of just like it's a brawler too, so it'd just be fun.
Yeah.
Dope.
But that's one where I'm pretty sure that they don't have like an English option for, which I wouldn't be
Gotcha.
surprised because that's like this is a game dedicated to like the Japanese audience that loves
Which
My
is
Hero
probably more
Academia.
niche as well. Whereas like
Yeah.
Spidey is a pretty. The only thing I could see is like if he is a superhero is in a big
Yeah.
market in Japan.
I don't know, yeah, because that's the thing.
But-
That's why I'm curious.
But it's a
'cause-
Sony product.
Plus, it's Marvel
But-
at this point with the MCU and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
feel like
but
it's
I don't know if like
worldwide,
Spider-Man's
yeah.
that popular of a character in Japan though. That's the thing.
hmm
I know Batman is. Batman's popular in Japan.
They know they know
Let's
what's
go.
up. They know what's up.
They do. Well, I mean, Batman Ninja was
Oh, I
a
still need to
Japanese,
see
like
that.
it was a Japanese made.
I know for a
product.
fact that's going to be like $7 on Black Friday. So I'm
Everyone
waiting
said it's
for
super
it.
good.
We
So-
should get it and review it. That should
should.
be
They
one.
did, yeah. They did a
That'd be-
whole
I like
thing.
that.
One of my friends said that apparently the Japanese dub is different from like the English dub in a
Really?
good way. Not like it's like, oh well, they had to. It was a thing of like the way they did the Japanese dub. They like made dialogue changes in context to
Really?
like Japanese audiences, and then they
Oh.
made the English dub in context for English
Interesting.
audiences. So
Nice.
that's why it's like they put a lot of effort into that.
That's cool.
Cool.
Nice. And then what else do I got? So I have those 4 games to play. So I should probably start on one of them at least.
Attaboy.
I might do Breath of the Wild just because I
Yeah,
can do handheld.
yeah, you're doing Breath of the Wild first. No question.
I think I put like, I'm trying to think of how many hours I put like quite a bit of hours into it before because I would like just wander around doing frick knows what, and like I would see like a peak and I couldn't climb up the wall, so I would like, I'm like, I want to get up top there, so I would just like
Yeah, that's why it's so
spend
good.
like an
You
hour or
just-
two like just trying to get up there, and then I would find out there's enemies that I can't kill, but then I would spend an hour trying to kill them with like, what if I place this bomb here and then chuck this bomb over there and
Yeah,
then
that's what's-
shoot the fire bomb and let it fall down, and then no, it doesn't work.
But see, it's fun that you got to try all these options. And
Yeah,
stuff.
and so I think that was fun, but I got bored after a while, and I got so diverted from the main story that by the time I went back to the main story, I was kind of like burnt out. So I think I need to
That's
replay it,
Yeah.
but just play the main story and then divert a little bit, but not go like full on exploration.
That's how
mode.
I did it. It's
So-
like I went for the main story. On my way to the next part, diverged, but then came back, and then next
Mhm.
part diverged, came back. Put 110 hours into Breath of the Wild.
Dang, dude.
I love that game. It's
Yeah.
a good game.
My
So-
I think I was telling you last time, like having a goal and getting to it, but I think also like allowing yourself to scale too, because once you start picking up more hearts and then you get some of the divine beast's powers and stuff, changes everything.
It really
Like,
does,
There's,
yeah.
there's a big difference because all of a sudden some of those enemies that you can't kill, you can at least like.
Because there's like the
Navigate a little
red
bit.
bokoblins or something, or I don't remember what colors
There's
they
like
are, or
red,
the gray
purple,
ones
blue. Yeah, the gray
that
ones
are like super
pretty-
hard to
The
kill.
gray ones
Yeah.
are the strongest level.
Yeah.
Yeah, watch out for
It's
those.
red.
lions,
It
though.
goes red, blue, black, then gray.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like the power level.
Yeah.
Because I would run into like a bunch of reds, but then like I would like attack them, and then a freaking gray dude would just come plowing at me, and he would like knock
Just
me down a
ruin you.
cliff,
Do
jump
that thing-
off the cliff, and just start banging at me with his club, and I'm like,
Or
I'm
you
dead.
get one hit and you just see all your hearts just
Yeah, he's
drop.
like boom, and then he's just
And
like
he does that-
dancing, like laughing at me. I'm like, you son of a gun.
You son of a gun. That's
So
awesome.
it's fun. I think I just got burnt out because I like diverted too much,
Cool.
and I was like, there's no story because I wasn't doing the story. So I think I'm gonna go back and play it, and then I'll do a review after that.
Hmm.
Can
Sweet.
finally give my thoughts.
Cool,
And then on Friday night, I watched the first Matrix movie. So
First time?
I think so. I
I
think
haven't
like
seen The Matrix before either.
dude.
I've been realizing like in my mind I have this idea that I've watched all of these like classic films just
But you
because I've
actually
seen like I've seen the scene where like the thing like crawls into his stomach or whatever. Or, like
Like
I've-
the iconic
I have certain
moments,
scenes
yeah.
in my mind, or like the bullet thing, or like,
Yeah.
But when I watched the movie, I was like, I've never seen this before, or at least not since I can remember. Maybe when I was a kid, my dad was watching it, and I just like passively saw scenes, and the little spider one freaked the frig out of me.
Fun fact: The Matrix was inspired by Ghost in the Shell.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I
Fun
could definitely
fact,
see that.
The guys who wrote The Matrix were from UW.
Fun fact.
So,
I'm fat.
fun fact. Cowabunga.
But the movie was really good. I think it's interesting how you can definitely tell they were creating it in a way that it appealed to a mass audience, like
Sure.
action-wise, because it's got like all the action scenes and the wire kung fu and all that stuff. But like the philosophical underpinnings of it, definitely I feel like is what made it like a cult film. I don't even know if it's a cult film.
I'd say it's a mainstream good film.
like a
it's
pop
just-
culture
yeah.
thing.
It was one of those where it was iconic for its time, and even now.
Yeah.
So
And it's like-
referenced in so many things.
Yeah, like watching it, it's a little bit cheesy at times, but I think it's like that type of cheesiness that's like it fits for some reason. It's like, man, this is like the 90s right here, or like the early 2000s. I think it was 99 that the first one came out, but it's just like, I don't know, it's been running in my mind ever since I watched it. Just like when I saw Blade Runner. So
Yeah.
I'm like trying to go back through and watch all these like older movies and
I'm trying to do that
re-experience.
too, actually, on
Yeah.
the plane ride over to Japan. I have some movies queued up. The one I'm super excited to watch, they have Hardcore Henry available for
Oh.
download, which
I
I've
need
been
to see that
wanting
one.
to watch so badly.
yeah.
That's the first person one, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it did super, super well.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people say it's like cinematically very good for what it's trying to do. You know, like for what it's trying to do. It's a
Mhm.
dumb, not even dumb, I'd say. It's just an insane action movie in first person view. So
Mhm. That's
Yeah.
cool.
I almost picked that up on Black Friday, but I might try and snag that this year. But
Black Friday is going to be a big one for me this year.
yeah, dog.
So many movies and games.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dog. You betcha.
like, you'll have to pick some stuff up for me while I'm
Yeah.
gone because
I got you.
Got you.
Yeah.
So
Sweet.
yeah,
they don't
that's
have
everything
Black
I've been
Friday
doing.
in Japan.
Cool. Well, one of my little things was we went to Barnes & Noble on my birthday last week, and we were walking around, and like we walk into the comic section where it's got all the graphic novels and a bunch of the pop culture merch and everything. For whatever reason, and it might have been through the whole store, but I think it just serendipitously came on while we were walking, and all of a sudden, what song did I write down? It was like this old rendition of like he's got the whole world in his hands. So it's just like we're looking through like Batman comics and stuff, and it's just like he's got the whole world.
I remember when we went there.
And I went there another time outside.
What the heck?
I've been there
Like,
multiple times over the summer, and like I don't know who's running that station, but there's like
it's so
these
eclectic.
weird dusty
Yeah, I remember going there.
worship dusty worship songs. That's
Yeah.
what they are.
And
Yeah.
I was
It's so
cracking up
weird.
because your comment was like, "Gotta play the Jesus music, get all these heathen nerds out of here." Like, but no, it literally was like, "What is?" And then seconds later, it was like some Bruno Mars like,
Yeah, I
dubstep
remember
banger,
because
and it was like,
when I
"What
was
is
in
this?"
when I was
Like-
in Milwaukee, we went to that Barnes and
Yeah, yeah.
Noble. I remember it was like it'd be this weird like upbeat like gospel tune, and I'm like, all right, this is fun. And then all of a sudden like Katy Perry comes on, and I'm like, baby, you're a I'm like,
Right.
what is, like,
No, no,
and
no,
then
no, no,
another
no.
gospel tune would come on, and then another gospel tune, and then another
Jesus
random
loves me,
pop
this
song.
is-
I'm like, what the heck is this
like
place?
this is
I
weird.
know.
This is so weird.
It is weird.
So anyway, so that happened, and I was just cracking up because it was
That's
like
great.
it was very surreal reading like edgy, you know, like violent manga and
Seeing
other
someone get
comics,
stabbed,
yeah,
and then
and
it's
like
like-
reading, flipping through Punisher stuff, and it's just he's got the whole world, and it was just like of all the songs too. Anyway,
That's funny.
mine are great. So I haven't done a ton of pop culture stuff since last time, but the one big thing I committed to doing before this episode was I did finish Disenchantment.
You finished it?
I finished it,
And I
So the
watched
10 episodes.
two,
that are
and I
there.
watched 2.5
And-
episodes of
yes.
I haven't watched it all yet,
Yeah.
but that's because I was watching Attack on Titan. So
Yeah, which I think we're gonna try and catch up tonight.
so
if we
I'll do
can.
the reverse. I'll watch Disenchantment, and then
Attaboy. Yeah.
we'll give our reverse thoughts.
Yeah. So, gosh, I'm gonna be spoiler free as much as I can. I'll call anything out if I start going down a road where it's hard to explain. First, I definitely recommend people watch it. I think it's enjoyable. I think it's entertaining. I think it is an above average good show. I think it's an adequate show. The problem is I don't think it lives up to how inflated they were or not, the expectations people had of this being one of Groening's like newest kind of spearheaded shows.
the next Futurama, or the next Simpsons.
and I think that's definitely what I was expecting. And I know like when we were talking initially, when it's like, oh, Matt Groening's got a new show and it's in the past and it's in like medieval stuff, and I think that's kind of what I was anticipating was old school Futurama, but it was a show that just like did not know what it wanted to be. And I think
which is almost the worst.
I think
it's a very
and I think
bad
it
scenario.
showed very strongly. There's a few things where they like set up that I'm like, oh, that's gonna be interesting. Like one of the characters, Elfo, in the first episode, he literally leaves his elf village because this isn't a spoiler. It's the first episode. He leaves his elf village literally because he's like, everyone's so happy and I'm sick of happiness. Like I want to go where people are miserable. And it's like, that's hysterical. Like I can't wait to see that. But then as soon as he walks out of the village and he starts like meeting people, he's this like dumb, like, hi, I don't know how the world works and blah, blah, blah. And it just made no sense. And and then he meets the other characters.
It didn't fall in with the precedent that they were kind of setting for what his character is going to be like.
Yeah, of this like character who's like seeking out people being real versus being in this culture that's like his prior culture of these people who are just happy all the time because they just kind of have to be because that's you're an elf, like that's what you do, you're just happy.
Yeah.
But that's not at all. Like he just basically goes into this other kingdom, then like does exactly what he just came from and was criticizing, and so that was kind of weird. The main character Bean, I actually really like. I think she's really close and really good. The king is really good. There's a few kind of like Futurama Simpson-esque side characters. Like there's this, it's like the town crier who like comes in. He's like, now introducing, like, and he was the one who always had the funniest lines that would come in.
He embodied the wit.
Yes.
Well, which is the sad part is it's like, I think, and we and Josh had a very long discussion about like our opinions on it. But, my thing was that coming from Futurama's wittiness and stuff like that, that's like all the wittiness comes from all sides, and basically every single character has some line, but their wittiness fits in with their own personality, and that was kind of the genius of that show. But this was like really that town crier was really the only witty guy, because even then Lucy wasn't that witty.
No, like
he was just,
no one was really witty, and there weren't like the only time I'd like laughed really hard, and I think I was just delusional, but it was like. There's this part where at the end of one of the episodes, the king comes back and he's expecting the castle and everything to be kind of in disarray because it was. And he like sits down and he's like mumbling basically what happened during the whole episode. And Bean's like, Dad, why are you talking like that? And he's like, I just had a stroke on the way over. And then like, for whatever reason, that just like made me laugh really hard. But then it was like, that wasn't funny. I think it was just how like it progressed, like out of nowhere. It was just like, yeah, and there's no bodies everywhere. And she's like, Dad, what's wrong with you? But other than that, like I'm really disappointed with it. But for very specific reasons. I think one, there's a lot of people on the writing team who have also written for Gravity Falls, which is a show that kind of built itself up to be like, oh, it's just these kids having a wacky adventure, and there's this clear mystery where the great uncle has this like vending machine thing. We don't know what's down there. When are we gonna find out?
And then it turns into animals literally bleeding from their eyes, chanting
demon
exactly,
because there's like
coming out of the wall.
exactly. So it builds, but you kind of have this understanding. Whereas like the way this show went as well, it kind of started down that road, and then all of a sudden it takes like a hard swing into like, okay, now every episode going forward matters, and every single one builds into itself. Whereas
it portrayed itself as serial, but then all the episodes were episodic, and then the last episode was a serial episode.
It was like the first 2, maybe 3 were episodic, where it was just kind of like, whatever happens. I was like, all right, cool, this is gonna be a fun ride. And then like middle of episode 3 into episode 4, all of a sudden it just takes this huge swing into like, okay, now everything going forward is a continuous story, and like
I didn't realize it was that far in. That it was okay.
So it was very weird, and it was kind of unsettling because it was all of a sudden it was like, what are we doing here? Like, is this gonna maintain? Like, are we watching like this for the character development? Are we watching it for this like weird mystery that's been alluded to? And I think there's these things that happen at the end of the show that could have been really deep emotional payoffs, and it was like really somber. Like all of a sudden it just got super dark.
That's why I honestly walked out, because I was like, that I think I had said that middle of the episode, like, I won't see what happens, but there's just this really kind of dark moment, and I was like, that's how they're gonna play into the next one.
It was like out of nowhere.
It literally was. And like everyone, they treated it like something serious, but then there was still the kind of lighthearted tone. I was like, what do you like? And then that's when I kind of just walked out, because I was like, I can't even tell where they're going for. Are they trying to make this serious? Or are they trying to make it like oh, it's kind of funny that this happened, or like, well, guess this happened.
Mm-hmm.
It was so hard to get a handle on, and that's very, very difficult. And actually, an interesting point I kind of thought of is, I think if it had chosen to be either episodic or serial, it could have done better. But it didn't. It didn't decide. It tried to be a middle ground, and that just did not work. Because because you've watched Cowboy Bebop. Cowboy Bebop's like the pinnacle of episodic shows, in my opinion. Because that is an episodic show where things happen, but there's a continuing narrative throughout it. That doesn't define it as serial, but it's a narrative that is hinted at, kind of like how Gravity Falls is. Of like, there's different escapades and stuff that happen, but there's a continuing thing that's keeping those episodes held together.
Right.
Whereas this one was like, it just couldn't decide between either having this contingent narrative or being goofy antics.
I think building off that too, so one of the other things I saw that a lot of people were doing is they were comparing, and I know this was one of our big points of disagreement, was a lot of people were mad and didn't like it because it wasn't Futurama or The Simpsons. And I don't think that's a fair critique, because I don't think Disenchantment is like, just because it's written by Groening and his team, I don't think it fits into that camp of show. Whereas like I would say Disenchantment is a closer show to compare to like actually Gravity Falls of all shows, because I think what Gravity Falls does is it's very episodic. There are individual episodes that if you just watch them out of context, it all makes sense. It's funny. Yeah, there might be little hints to stuff that if you've watched the whole show, it like pays off or whatever. But then there are other episodes later on that are like, you really need to know who this person is, and you really need to know what the backstory is. And I think what Disenchantment did incredibly poorly, that a show like Gravity Falls did amazingly. So to make a better comparison, if we're comparing shows, Gravity Falls took a lot of time building up the mystery under it, and when they got to the end of the first season, it was they had the biggest swing into closer to the mystery, but they still didn't like do all this stuff that kind of like broke the show. Like all of a sudden characters like weren't acting differently, and all of a sudden there weren't all these like crazy things. It was all of a sudden, it was literally how the show was designed. It was all this magic stuff just kind of, and then everyone's like, holy crap, how do we handle this? Whereas with this, all of a sudden there was like, okay, we have 10 episodes just for this first part of the season, so like we need to get there, and like we need to get there now. And so there were things that happened that I think could have had really great payoffs if they had been built up very methodically to get to that point. But it was almost like, oh, we don't want to do that, because if we do, then people are going to get mad because it actually goes where they think it's going. And which to me, it was like, I'm mad because the characters are dull. Like they're flat. They're like, oh, Bean is like, she's a good for nothing, and she just kind of goofs around. She doesn't take anything seriously. But then all of a sudden she's thrust into all these scenarios back to back to back to back. And she's the complete opposite of that.
She's like the hero for everyone.
Yeah,
basically.
And she's the hero in every single scenario. And it's not because, oh, well, I had to pull up my bootstraps and grow. It was just like, well, we needed to get to the end of the episode, and we needed to get out of this scenario. So like Bean's got to be the one to do it. Or it just was like, no one was like fully consistent. And I think that's a strength that
Futurama and The Simpsons do have. And that's the point I was making, is like, even though we had that disagreement, my perspective on it is like, it is unfair to say that it's not Futurama, but my thing is that there should still be comparison between the two, because there are so many writers from the same, like Matt Groening literally headed the project, and he headed Futurama too. And my...
Oh, go for it.
Okay. My main point was, I was saying Simpsons and Futurama, especially Futurama, because Matt Groening was the head writer for that. Futurama showed that the writers on that show had high competency for writing good characters that had very distinct personalities and very unique ways of conveying the wittiness and humor that the show wanted to convey.
That were distinct to each, despite how big the cast was.
Yes.
Hermes was Hermes, Professor was Professor, Fry was Fry. Like, there wasn't like all of a sudden someone was doing something and you're like, that's just a generic person. Like, that's not anybody special.
Right. And then... So then with that, I remember thinking Disenchantment would be good because that's what I was used to from Futurama. But then when we had this discussion, I was saying the problem is, it's like, it's not fair to say it's not Futurama. It is not fair to be like, oh, this isn't Futurama, so it's not good. But I think it's fair to be like, the writers had the competency to write these characters in these other shows. Why couldn't they be that competent for this show and have that same kind of character wittiness and development, even humor for that matter? Like I did not
never
find it
really
funny.
Laughed.
I'm wondering, because I know that like later seasons of Futurama and later seasons of Simpsons kind of get panned more critically than
That's what I was telling
than
Josh.
other seasons. So maybe like Matt Groening's just not as good as he used to be. Like maybe the Matt Groening in our minds is the one who created like the episodes and the seasons that we remember most fondly. But like he's gone off the rails more than we.
That's true. Yeah,
and not to like rail on him, but maybe
no,
his
for sure.
new style is just not the style
that we were expecting.
because
Yeah.
that's just not how he writes anymore.
Well, and this is so I know from our previous discussion, I will concede this. I think you can compare because I was watching a couple videos online today just to kind of see like what the landscape was. Because I mean, obviously, it's not like they said it's good, so I think it's good. But just to kind of see where people are feeling, criticism is like identical across the board, more or less. And I think the biggest contention is actually is specifically only in the it's not good camp, and it's between people who say it's not good, but you can't say it's not Futurama, so that's why it's not good. And there's a lot of people who are saying, no, you absolutely can say that, and that's the reason it's not good. I think to concede a little bit, I think it's fair to say there are specific, distinct aspects about Futurama and The Simpsons that Disenchantment should have, just in the basis of just good character writing, should have been, versus like pejoratively, Disenchantment was not Futurama, therefore it's not good. Because if you watch it, it's trying to do very, very, very different things. Like Futurama is like, we're just throwing this crew and we're going to send them to this random planet that's based off a pun and they're going to have to solve this problem or whatever. Disenchantment kind of builds itself that way and then all of a sudden dips into like, nope, this is like a family drama. And so it's like, so in that sense, it's not fair to say like, well, Disenchantment isn't trying to be Futurama, so it's not good. But I do think the characters are just not well written. And I think this kind of came to mind today as I was listening to all these things that I think I don't know what it is, but I think it was partially because I was reading, I know Jeff Lemire has been kind of pulled into the Comicsgate thing. And so, and not to dive into all that, I mean,
comics. Oh, is that like some?
Well, it's basically everyone's like, oh, it's all that SJW is ruining comics. It's basically all the people that embody like, well, it's all these people on this side, they're ruining comics. And then it's everyone like, no, it's just people who are now having a chance to write. And we're not going to dive into it.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing. But reading through it, it was just interesting because it was like, okay, I'm going to read both sides. And so you have people who are like, well, I'm afraid because comic quality has dipped. And it's like, that's a very subjective statement to begin with, but okay, let's just see where it runs. But then you like look at some of the stuff that these people who are on that side are like complaining and they're saying comic quality is bad.
Like how
blah,
they
blah, blah.
quantify what quality means.
Exactly.
Right.
And you look at it and you're like, your stuff is crap. Like how, like you don't even make it about like, well, it's SJW's ruining. It's just like, just be a fan of good writers and you're not in that camp either.
Or just
bro.
Acknowledge that your thing isn't as good as everyone else.
It's like, but that's the thing so it's like, oh, my stuff isn't getting accepted anymore because they're trying to let this other person who's in a group like they're right. It's like, no, maybe you just suck. And it's like maybe it's like and maybe they suck too. But then if you both suck, like who cares? Like it's just it is what it is. Like is it good writing or is it not?
Well, it's just that's the point when you got to just be like make your story unique enough to stand out from that.
Well, and
if you're complaining about the SJW stuff,
and I mean I don't want to go down that road, but
and that's kind of why I'm saying about Matt Groening is maybe he's just not good.
And that's exactly where I was trying to get to is that I'm really wondering, like, I don't know what it is, but all of a sudden there's these things that I think people are like, oh, this creator, I'm so excited to see this new thing from them. And they see it and they're like, what the heck was that? Like, maybe Matt Groening really wasn't that good ever. Like, maybe it was the fact he had, like, Conan and Tina Fey and like,
Josh Weinstein.
Like, maybe it was the fact that I totally will acknowledge that he probably was the mastermind behind these worlds and the characters and stuff like that. But
he was behind people say that he was the wittiness of the old Simpsons and Futurama.
Sure.
So that he has that going for him. But it is interesting seeing that he was heading this kind of story that didn't have wit.
Well, and just
which
like
is weird.
Yeah, and just like wasn't and you know what? And again, maybe and I don't want to attribute blame because it could even be that he had a vision, but then like someone else in Netflix didn't want him to, or maybe there was some other creative person who had a higher authority to like guide the story more, and so he didn't really have a lot of say in certain things. Like being in a creative discipline, like I totally understand that where sometimes you want something a certain way, but because the rest of the team wants to go this way, like that's where they go. And that's where I mean, it could be really interesting if like the Gravity, I could anticipate that coming out, that the Gravity Falls writers or the people who are in that camp wanted to take it a Gravity Falls route, whereas like Matt Groening wanted to take it a Futurama Simpsons route.
Maybe that's
and
why
in
it feels
order to
so
like go
disjointed.
through the middle,
Yeah, that
you
would make
kind of have
sense.
to like give a little in both. And I think as a result, it really suffered. Like I think if you would have had a full 20 episodes of the show out right now, and I think if they would rebalance some of the narrative stuff, I think it's a great show, honestly. Like I think it's really good. But the characters need to be more distinct and like grounded in who they are and how they've been written to be. You need a little more variation in the actions and stuff. Someone made the point online where one of the things that they did have trouble with that the writers have said is with Futurama, you can make reference jokes off the past. And The Simpsons, you can make reference jokes off the present. Whereas, or like in Futurama 2, you can also make it off the future and like what things will be like. And, you know, whereas like,
but you can't do that in the past.
what do you do in the this
Yeah.
medieval setting? Like you
Yeah.
kind of have to rely on everything. But then it's interesting that
That's the weird thing. There's such a plethora of stuff. Like, think of all the parodies of like Skyrim, of like Dungeons and Dragons and stuff.
I
That
think
it's like
the fantasy world and novels, and
such
it's so
a
expansive.
big culture
that
now.
has plenty of stuff to
Yeah, and
make
so-
fun of and
so
make a
to me-
mockery of. Because that's
but-
what I thought it was going to be. It was
exactly.
a mockery on fantasy,
right, which
and stuff.
I could imagine if it was Groening or someone else, and maybe I don't know what the dynamic was of that creative team, but I could see it being a big point of contention where they want to make it more witty and episodic and like this, and then there's this other side where they're like, but we want to like weave this grand narrative and like get somewhere with it. And
Well, maybe
Yeah.
that means it'll get better over time though.
well, and
Because if it's a new creative team,
right,
compared to The Simpsons,
Right,
Futurama,
and
maybe they need to.
and
they
there's
need
a lot
time
of
to
people
flesh
who
it
it
out.
sounds like have a lot of hope, and I do too. Like I'm totally gonna watch the second season. Like again, I think I do want to see how some of the mystery things that they built up and played off, and like some of the best. There were some really good, really heartfelt moments that come across. Like again, I can't spoil and I can't use the example, but like there are moments at the end for some of the ones that were like, where did this come from? There were some that was like, wow, they built that up and they executed that really well. And like that had a huge, really good payoff, but it was so inconsistent. And I think that's the biggest flaw of the show right now is it's like, it's not all bad. It's not all good. It's just wildly inconsistent. And so that's why I still think it's worth watching because there is something to be gained from it. And and I mean, I'm also overly analytical and I'm a Futurama and Simpsons fan. So naturally I feel like I'm just like, I want to know what it's going to be and blah, blah, blah. But it could be really good. The second season could be awesome. I hope it is. I hope that the second portion picks up and kind of carries along better. But for right now, it's just kind of it is like a solid C-. Like it's not failing. It's not horrible. You shouldn't.
It's painfully average. That's kind of the
It's-
thing I
yeah.
attribute to it.
I think I used this example for the Venom movie. I think it should have been an 8, but it's a 6. 6 isn't bad. It's still worth seeing.
Wait,
but
did
like
the Venom movie come out?
Speaking
No,
of
no,
the
the
Venom
trailer.
Speaking
Oh,
of that
yeah.
Venom movie,
you see that there's like
the more trailers I see, the less I'm actually interested in
You
that
see-
movie.
I actually went.
It's like, what is the plot? Like, this just feels like a dirty, like, like,
It just
I don't know.
feels
It just
dirty.
did
feels
it
like.
turn into something? Because I haven't.
I mean,
I
like
saw
the,
one trailer.
the
and
trailers
I was-
haven't really changed a lot, but it's just like I've watched them a couple times now, and the more I watch it, I'm just like, there's nothing here. Like,
yeah.
there's
it
nothing.
literally
Like,
just
what are
seemed-
they even doing? I don't know.
It literally just seems like it's
I
a guy
don't
gets Venom and then
know.
he just gets mad and fights people.
Yeah,
that seems
like,
yeah.
and there's like they're like portraying this internal conflict, but like it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, he's gonna kill people, he's gonna eat people, but somehow he's the
Yeah.
good guy, and like I don't know.
Speaking
and there's
of-
gonna be 3 apparently.
Yeah, I saw that. As
There's
soon as I
3
saw that,
Troy
Dude, Troy
tweeted
was
it,
poking. I was
and then I
laughing so
commented
hard.
on it. I was like, "Is this heaven?"
Yeah, he's like, "Come on, Phil." I thought that was fantastic.
Wait, 3 Venom movies?
There's gonna be
yeah,
3.
it's a trilogy.
What?
That once I saw that, I was like,
I'm out.
This
Yeah, no,
movie
this is
is going to suck
Yeah.
because the only reason not the only reason, but one of the big reasons I've noticed that you build in more movies after before the first one even comes out is we have more of a story to tell. AKA, we didn't do a good job with the first one, so we think that building in
We're gonna
more
try to
movies
just
is
fit everything
gonna-
else in the other movies.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Speaking
Yeah.
of good trailers, what did you think of that Teen Titans movie?
Oh,
Teen
yeah,
Titans
that's right.
trailer.
The show, you mean?
No, that
That
the
new,
live.
is it the live action?
That's a TV show.
It's a show.
Yeah,
I
is
think
it
it's
a show?
on
Yeah,
DC.
DC. I'm excited for that. I think like
Oh,
I think it's gonna be so good. But
no, you're not. You're
for
kidding.
real though. Like, what is your gripe with it?
F Batman. I feel the darkness inside of me. Ugh, like
Yeah, I mean,
too cringy, edgy.
I mean,
that's
it's the Teen Titans though. It's supposed to be edgy. I think like
no.
the thing that I'm excited about with DC's streaming service is like I think they're recognizing that their place isn't in like the cinema to some extent, or like I think they're trying to create more of like just an extended universe that
they're
like
branching their evil to other aspects of television.
no, like the reason I like DC Comics more than I like Marvel is because like everything in Marvel is like connected and everything has to be within continuity and everything has to be whatever. And I'm talking about the comics, not the movies.
Yeah.
And I think DC is starting to shift that a little bit with like the TV shows and different things, and kind of saying like, in some of it is stupid. Like they have like 2 or 3 Joker movies or something in the works, and I'm like, none of that is necessary at all. Joker's
I did
like
see that, and
Joker's overplayed. Like
He's a pop culture.
Heath Ledger should have been the last Joker. He knocked it out of the park, and there's
no
nothing
one
more
will
to be
ever
said.
top. Yeah.
Or just acknowledge that he's gone. You can't recreate it. Just don't try to like, oh, well, now we're going to fill him up with tattoos and gold teeth.
Yeah, but I think like with the DC streaming service, it's in my mind they're trying something new and getting out of the cinema space a little bit. And I'm excited for that show. Everything DC does, I'm optimistic about it. So
Until you
and
see it.
I'll be
until
watching
you see-
Aquaman. So
I'd go see
I'm
that
excited
with you.
for that.
I'd go
It
see
looks
that with
good.
you. Hey,
So,
our
I don't know.
Deadpool 2 review got 90 downloads, so we got to do an Aquaman.
Yep,
What
gotta
would
do
it be?
Venom too.
I'll just call him from Japan and be like,
I mean, I'm
"It
probably gonna see Venom because I want to know, but it's,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm gonna call him from Japan and be like, it probably sucked. See you guys later.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just that trailer just.
I mean, it does come off as edgy, but I think if you look past that, I think it's going to be interesting.
I think I'm just tired of trailers in general because I just don't think that
Yeah.
they...
I think
You
I think
can't-
people are losing touch of what you're supposed to be showing to like hype the thing.
I think it's
And
dual-sided.
it definitely drove buzz because literally like F Batman was trending on Twitter and like everybody was talking about it for.
Everyone was trashing
Yeah.
on it basically.
Yeah, I think it's one of those where like I think it's dual-sided. I think studios have a horrible idea of what a trailer is supposed to do. And then I think on the other side, audiences don't know what they should be getting from a trailer. And so I think as a result, you have like the people making it who just are doing a horrible job where you're like, what is this? Like, what? This makes me so angry. Like, this doesn't make any sense. And then you have the other people who are like blowing it way out of proportion. And they're trying to play up like, oh, we got to play up the tone of what the show's going to be like. And then
I
it
think,
seems
like-
contrived.
and it's like they played up the edginess too much. Like it was that line alone.
my eyes got cut watching that trailer. Is so edgy.
It was yeah.
I mean, I acknowledge that.
I
I think
started
it was
listening to My
edgy.
Chemical Romance after I watched the trailer.
Hey, My Chemical Romance. Is
No,
good.
I love them. I'm just saying.
I mean, I agree that it's edgy, but I think like at least from my side of the aisle, like in the comic book Reddits and stuff, like people are excited about it. So I think I'm excited for it. I think I like the Teen Titans to some extent.
I like them a lot, but that's because I'm used to the cartoon, and the cartoon's like
Yeah.
that.
The problem is, I think like that's the Teen Titans, and that's like the goofy.
no, but it has some pretty dark moments, though. That's why it's interesting
Yeah.
because it's like, but that's why when you said it's like the Teen Titans are dark, it's like the Teen Titans in the cartoon what made them great was that they were goofy, but like I said before, one of my favorite episodes is like Slade literally. I think they had already beaten him or something like that, and Slade literally is like appearing in Robin's visions and stuff, and Robin is literally going insane, and he shuts down the Teen Titan base and is like, he's like, I'm capturing Slade, I'm gonna find Slade, and they're like, Robin, Slade's been dead for, and he was like, I know what I saw, and like, and that's a kid show going to that level, but at the same time, it's balanced with like they have good team dynamic, they're humorous, they can be funny with each other, but that's where it's like DC. I think it's because after like seeing the stuff from Batman versus Superman, after seeing I almost said 21 Pilots, after seeing Suicide Squad, it just they're trying so. This is what I was gonna cite and just be like, it's a great example of like the execs at the big business. One of my favorite Filthy Frank skits is he's making fun of this one like live action Nickelodeon show, or he was talking about non-smoking ads or whatever, and he was just like, I'm John Johnson from John CEO. He's like, my kids listen to that dubstep, that he likes that Avicii guy. Why don't we put some of that in the ad? Like the kids like the dubstep, right? I haven't talked to my daughter in 10 years. Like basically just like that idea of they just think they're in touch, but they're really not. And
I think
it comes across in
the
trailers.
thing that
and
I
stuff.
disagree with though is we haven't seen any movies post Justice League, and after Justice League they brought on this comic writer Jeff Johns, and I think he actually helped write Wonder Woman, and he's helping write the next Wonder Woman and Aquaman, and he's helping write the TV shows, I think. But he is a big comics writer, and he's the one writing like Doomsday Clock, and he's written Green Lantern and a bunch of other stuff.
The movie Green Lantern?
No, the comic book.
Okay.
No.
Comic books. But he stepped down as the chief creative officer of DC, and now he's like just working on like creating, and he's helping them like revamp the DC universe. So I'm continually optimistic, and I think it's going to be a good show. I think the trailer was taken out of context, and they didn't show us what we were supposed to see. But I think in my mind, I like the tension between Robin and Batman, because like Batman is so like revered in our culture, and everybody's like, yeah, Batman's awesome. He's such a moralistic, like absolute, and like he never strays from the path. And then like just seeing Robin crunching some dude's neck, and like it's kind of like
But has Robin always been that way though? I felt Robin was like
having finished the Court of Owls and City of Owls, like there's a distinct decline that so,
especially Dick Grayson.
Yes,
he definitely has a darker side. So
yeah, which I think is interesting. I think the reason, and again, I think I do want to be careful to put more onus on the trailer itself rather than like what the show may actually be. And it could be that the show
I think that's the thing too, is like they were playing up the edginess so much that it just really got to me.
Editing video, having to edit video, and especially like doing trailers or little snippets and stuff, you pack it. It's bad to do it this way all the time because it can create things that are horribly forced. But when you have something like that, it's like, all right, well, we're trying to get people enticed, so we need to capture the energy of the show, which is like dark, brooding teenage angst. And so they just chuck all of it and all these portions of it into this like 60-second clip. And you're like, my brain hurts. Like, I just lived my teens again. Like, because it's so much in such a short time span versus like, I think this is what trailers should be doing better. Shoot like things that aren't going to be in the show at all, and like shoot a precursor to what the show is about. Like shoot the stuff that like we see that lead, because this is I feel like what leads to that groan is when you see like Robin go like F Batman, you're like, where did that come from, dude? Yeah. Like relax. Whereas if we're seeing something where like how he declines into
that's what I was gonna say. If it was something even more symbolic of like if he had seen a poster of Batman or something and like tore it down, and that would have been a little more nuanced of like, you're like, oh, interesting, he's got some beef against Batman. But that one was just such a, oh wow,
I thought Batman doesn't kill people. If Batman, you're like, all right, like So again, I put that almost more on the trailer, the trailer itself, and the people running the behind the scenes work with that, because it could be great. I hope it's good. Like DC needs to figure something out.
I think after the Flash TV show and the Green Lantern TV show descending into soap opera madness.
You mean Green Arrow? Or is it Green Arrow?
Green Arrow, yeah. I'm excited to see something a little darker. I like the darkness of DC though.
I thought Flash was good for a while.
I was born in the darkness.
What?
I thought Flash was good for a while.
I watched 2 seasons and I've never watched it since. I think they took it off they took it off Hulu and put it on Netflix, so it's like you have to watch it after the show's done now.
Got it.
And also Green Arrow was the same way, I heard too. A lot of
Green Arrow was good for like 3 or 4 seasons.
People really liked it, and then it just fell off.
It had like these flashback sequences, but like he would like his character growth was happening in the present and in the past, but like the past was happening before he came back off of the island.
That's weird.
And so like doesn't make any sense. All of this stuff was happening in the past, and you're like, how did he do all of this and then come back to society and be the way he was when he's like
supposed
progressing
to be
as a person in the past? And so like it got so convoluted, and I was like, this is dumb. So yeah. Plus they're making a Doom Patrol TV show now, which is a pretty cool comic. It's kind of like almost like an X-Men-y type. It's like a team-based thing, like Guardians of the Galaxy. Cool. People are saying that WB should pick up James Gunn to make a Doom Patrol thing. Because WB is actually optioning for him to write some movies for them.
Yeah, so, Disney, you messed up, son.
I watched an iDubbbz video today about the James Gunn thing.
The joke.
And that put it in a lot more context, and I was like, this actually like makes me even like less disgusted by those tweets, because like It's just like when you
it is so blatantly. He literally.
Yeah.
Sorry, you can take. He just sets it up at. Sorry to.
Yeah. No, it's all good.
No, you take it.
Yeah. I mean,
I'll just say what I was gonna say.
we discussed it pretty extensively on a different episode.
I think. Yeah.
But
I think on our comedy is sad now. I do think in thinking about it, and I've had some time to process. Like I think my opinion of it has changed a lot. Like I do think, and I think iDubbbz does a really good job of like kind of pointing out the fact that it's like, okay, but like if you took it that way, what does that say about you as well?
Yeah,
and
he's
so,
like, in
he's
what
it's
world is
clearly-
this even sexual? Like, why are you thinking like this?
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
so there's part of me that it's like, wow, like actually, hearing that, I think a lot of my opinions have changed on that, where I think like there's just more and more stuff that keeps happening in different industries where it's like I'm getting worried that nothing is going to be good anymore because everybody's going to have to wash it out. Where it's like, oh, eventually violence in DC stuff is going to be washed out because it's like, so we can't have Robin be angry at Batman. That's bad. Like we need to have him be like this and like no,
it'll
fine,
be like that.
Fine, if it's good for stories, like make him pissed is all.
I mean,
get out.
that's what they did to the Turtles initially.
Yeah.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They like completely washed them.
Do you know what it's going to be like? It's like that one episode of The Simpsons when Marge complains about violence in Itchy and Scratchy. And then it turns into like, because it's like the super violent make fun of Tom and Jerry, and then it just turns into they have like these big googly eyes. They're like, lemonade, yeah, you're my best friend. You too, Scratchy. And that's what every cartoon is going to turn into.
I think there's just like the culture on both sides now of like being like it's perpetually like up in arms about things.
It's just
and I mean,
ridiculous.
There's people who have points about certain things.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
Like the Comicsgate thing, I'm like. These people need to settle down a little bit. Like the critiques they have about the comics aren't about the stories. Like they say it's like, oh, I like stories are just really bad, but then they explain what they mean, and I'm like, that is kind of like sexist and racist.
Exactly.
like the things that they explain they don't like about it, and I'm like you need to calm down.
Yeah, I was reading an article that someone was writing. I mean, they were clearly like opposed to the Comicsgate and not on the side, but even then they did a pretty good job of like being balanced and just kind of like they gave some quotes from example videos and stuff. And even the guy, it was like Darwin Cook, I think, is one of the guys that just passed away recently. And
people were like trying to say he would have been in Comicsgate. Yeah.
I specifically listened to the interview that someone had listed or that the guy had posted to and said like, see, this is proof. His whole point, and this is what drives me nuts. It's just I'm so sick of this crap. Is it's like they hear this message that they want to hear and they hear these and they just start spinning the wheels of like, how can I fit this to my personal belief? Literally his whole point is he does say some things about certain identity groups that Comicsgate is going that Comicsgate is going after. But I think his whole point in saying it isn't like, oh, if you're a part of this gender group or if like you have this sexual orientation or if you are this race, like don't be but his whole thing is like, write a good story. Like I don't want these characters ruined for the sake of bringing this in. He's like, what I do want is for like good characters to be written. And like, so for these people to like just run with that of like, oh, see, like he doesn't like these people either. Like, that's why we don't like him. It's like, that's not what he said at all.
He's
like,
literally just saying, yeah. I mean, that's what I talked about way back in the day of like Kenji and Persona 4. And I won't go more in depth at that. Like he's, honestly, in my opinion, he's one of the best Persona characters and he's like struggles with homosexuality, but they do it in such a great way that the story builds it into this thing of him struggling with identity more so than just like he's the gay character.
Yeah,
he's representing the gay community. It's like he's such a more nuanced and like in-depth.
He
character.
is one of the best characters in the game, and that's why like just the stuff when we were talking about quality earlier. And I guarantee you that guy who's like saying, "See, this is this," he's the same guy who probably loves the worst comic that's ever been written and thinks it's like the greatest thing ever made.
Yeah,
you just don't understand the nuances. And
I think it's just people seeing what they want to see in comics because like. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have enough context for what they're reading.
I don't even know
like,
what Comicsgate is. So.
Yeah, I mean, people they complain about like how Miles Morales or Peter Parker is replaced, and
so
they complain about how
example.
Thor became a woman. It's like in my mind, like those things aren't inherently bad as long as they're written well.
Exactly.
But I've never read them, so I don't know.
Wait, so people were like they brought Miles Morales' example of that, like.
So they would have been exactly. So then it would be like, see, Miles Morales isn't as good as Peter Parker. It's because they're trying to like incorporate.
Nope.
Right. Exactly.
I totally disagree with that.
I think this is the flaw in the logic is like that infuriates me. Is it's like, okay, let's even say that, okay, man Thor in your vision is like good, and let's say like the female Thor that is written is like bad. That doesn't mean because they made Thor a female that it's bad. It's just was bad. Like, that's it. So like, just approach stuff from quality. Don't pull in all the identity stuff, either side. Like, don't do that. Just, is it written well? Is it good? Are the characters deep? Do they have flaws? Do they have challenges they have to overcome? Like, I don't care if Thor is a man or a woman. I hope the next Iron Man is Riri Williams in the movies. I really do. I think she'd be awesome. But like, make her deep, make her interesting, make her complicated, make her an amazing character.
Make her
as
good. Make her like writer as good as the original character.
Exactly. Yeah. Like,
it's very easy for people to tell if they're a token character or if they're actually a deep character. And that's what's funny is that like, if people were able to, and I talked about why I liked Miles Morales, is because he was a great character in his own right, on top of being this character that's honoring Peter Parker. That's why it's funny that he's like, well, he's just replacing Peter Parker. No, he literally, as a character, is trying to mimic Peter Parker, and that's why he struggles being Spider-Man, is because he can't be Peter Parker. And then that just is a perfect example of like, he's not just like, we're gonna make Black Spider-Man, here's Black Spider-Man, and then he's not a good character at all. It's like, no, he's a character with values and depths and struggles and all, like you just said, all these things that are present. So yeah, we could
people
go on
want to
and on
believe
about
what
that.
they want to believe. I had been reading stuff on that, and that just had been turning in my gears.
Yeah, I
mean,
I follow like Jeff
a lot
Lemire and all these comics people now, so they've all been tweeting about it. So I've been kind of looking at it, but
yeah, I've been looking into some of this stuff and just to kind of see like what the landscape is, and like I'm just so fed up. It's either one side or the other has some big scandal that they're trying to pull and hoodwink the other side, and just be civil. Like, stop. If you really don't think it's good, then just like whatever, and for some of them too, it's like, write your own then you go write it, then you prove them wrong, then you do it better. But like, nope, I'm just gonna sit here and talk about how like Thor's a woman now, so she's bad. Classic idiots. Bunch of idiots.
yeah.
I can't deal with irrational just chaos like that. And like,
It's interesting because when you like, I've seen some of the stuff, like some of these like conservative, or I don't even know what I would call them, because they're comics, like the things that I've seen them writing is just like, it doesn't look good. Like there was the Vox Day guy, he had the alt hero or whatever, and I was like reading some of the panels, and I was like, this like, You're saying that we shouldn't inject politics into comics, but like this is the most blatant injection of politics. Like you have a man whose name is Global Man, and like he has his uniform is literally like the EU flag, and he's the bad guy because he's like trying to bring globalism to America or something.
Good Lord.
And I'm like, this isn't even a story. This is like you injecting your politics into a comic, and like
exactly,
and like that's not inherently bad, but like, that's what you're telling them they're doing wrong. But like, I'm reading their comics, and their comics are better than yours. Like, they have better stories. Like, they're not as inherently political as like, it's kind of just like this blindedness to what
it's much easier to jump the gun on people injecting like gender bending, like transgender, like race change. Like, it's much easier to jump the gun on that and be like, this is the problem with like SJW stuff, rather than looking at like how political the other side gets too. It's like no one can just be in the middle and be like, we can have political
story.
We can have political aspects, but at the end of the day, it's a story. Make it a good story, and it's fine.
Well, and at the end of the day, like, why do you care that much?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I guarantee you, they don't even like. It's like, well, you've ruined Marvel. Like, do you still read every single Marvel issue that comes out? Like, does it really matter? Like, just let them run. Let them do their thing. And if it's really that bad, someone somewhere is gonna figure it out eventually, and they'll come back. So just be patient. Like, if you're really that, and I'm not even condoning that as like that's the right thing. It's more just like, if you're that psychotic to just be that angry about like female characters and characters of other, it's just like, you have way bigger fish to fry. If like that's your biggest gripe in life, is that your comic books are ruined. Like, come on, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Gosh.
Well, on that note, someone's getting a little red in the face.
It's like, it's interesting because it's like, it's one of the reasons that I really value like the discussions that we have, is like we're genuinely trying to like not bite into this gatekeeper mentality of like, I think Riri Williams is awesome. Like, so what? Maybe it's like, well, she's bad and she's this. It's like, okay, like. Did I steal your house? Like, did I rob you of your dog? Like, did I take anything from you? Like, no.
Did I rob you of your dog?
I was trying to like
take
navigate.
your kibble?
Yeah, I was like,
did I take your dog's kibble? Are your nutty bars out of the fridge?
Yeah.
Oh,
anyway,
gosh.
I was going in all these
Sorry,
directions.
I had to
got-
end it
no,
on
it's
I wanted
yeah.
I wanted to like take the fire. I'm dousing down a little bit. Like, all
Okay.
right, here you go.
You like took it and became court jester. You're juggling it. You're like, oh,
I think that all started.
Whoa, whoa.
I think that all started because I was talking about Doom Patrol, and then we
Yeah.
went to James Gunn, and then
Yeah,
down the
man.
hall.
Yeah.
Down the hole we go.
Because the
Rip
DC
James.
service is making a Doom Patrol show,
That was Donnie.
and then a Swamp Thing show as well,
Cool.
based on the comics. So.
Swamp Thing.
Sweet. Well, we'll wrap it up. Phil's got an early day tomorrow. So, yeah. You can check out our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and YouTube. We also have them uploading to our Twitter feed. So, if you follow any of us on Twitter, or if you follow our podcast Twitter, which is at Pop Culture Punks, you'll get to see when the feed comes out immediately. Our Twitters are at Sixwin Creative is moi. Zach is C. San Pellegrino. Phil is I am Phil Sorensen.
I am
Soon to be
Sorensen.
Spill Phil.
Soon to
I
be
am
Spill
Spilly
Phil.
Philly.
Spilly
Chris is at Chris of the Vast, and that's all. You can check out our Redbubble page at redbubble.com if you search Pop Culture Punks to find some merch. We got some logos,
Buy
some
that
variations.
Buy that merch.
Buy that.
You're making a Christmas music video?
Yeah, dude,
absolutely.
abso-freaking-lutely.
100%. So you can check out for t-shirts and stuff. We'll actually try and be vigilant. There was a sale last week
Yeah,
where
I
it's
totally forgot about that.
no, it's all good. It was like one of those spur of the moment, and I think it literally ended like 2 hours later,
Oh,
so
okay.
it was fine. But
I texted a bunch of people though, like Busco
Cool.
and stuff. And
Yeah,
their
so-
only response was Jacob's only response was, "So you're buying us all shirts then?" I'm like,
you punk.
"Yeah." I was like,
Jeez.
You're our loyal listeners. You buy merch from us.
You buy the merch. You buy the merch.
And
Yeah.
you have to buy the merch. And you have to buy the merch.
But yeah, if you're interested in giving the show a little kick, which would help us to review certain things, if you want to send us in certain things to review or talk about or do, we'd love to do so.
If you think Josh got
yeah.
too angry or I did not get angry enough on this episode, please send us a review.
If you'd like Colton, Jordan, and Gloria to fill in for us for a whole episode next time, please send us an email at popculturepunks@gmail.com. I think that's it.
Nice.
Is that it? That's it.
That's all, folks.
Beep, 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 beep. That was unreal.
Go on.
I'm Puzzle the Clown.
Fon Cowabunga.
Yeah. Stop.
Voices in my heart tell me to throw it all away, to toss it in the wind and forget yesterday. But the crowd comes singing back with that same old song. You've got bills you gotta pay. What about job security? But I've been dreaming about packing it all up, 'cause the war in me just won't relent till there's nothing left but dust. So what do you do when the walls start closing in and everyone you love tells you it's all just in your head? And I wanna burn out in a brilliant burning place. Don't wanna be stifled by the dry rot or the haze. I'm not giving up, I just don't have the time to waste all my days rewriting all these lies. I'm not giving up, I just don't have the time to spend another moment living someone else's life.